Hey, what's up, guys? It's the Film Geek here, and the other night I went out and saw The Book of Eli. Not really on purpose, I had a date, but I was glad that I went because it was freaking sweet. I wasn't really expecting a whole lot from this movie. I thought it looked from the trailers. I thought it looked fairly interesting, at least. Like, it might hold my attention for an hour and a half or so, but I was not expecting the total badassery that came from this movie. It was pretty freaking sweet. For those of you who don't know what Book of Eli is about, Denzel Washington plays a character named Eli, who is a drifter traveling west across post-apocalyptic United States. He has in his possession a book that Gary Oldman wants really badly, for very corrupt reasons, and Denzel is basically doing everything in his power to make sure that Oldman does not get this book, which this is kind of a spoiler, I guess, if you haven't seen the trailer. Because in the movie, they try to make it seem oh, we don't know what this book is, blah, blah, blah. They kind of, draw it out a little bit as to what the book actually is. But come on, in the freaking trailer, the book has a cross on it. It's clearly the Bible, people. That was one of my downfalls for this movie, was that they kind of tried to make it too big of a surprise that it's a Bible, when it is clearly a Bible even in the trailer. The acting in this movie was really good. Gary Oldman was fantastic as the bad guy. He always plays great bad guys. Denzel Washington was completely badass. He's kind of the silent type. He doesn't really say a whole lot in the movie. When he does say stuff, it's pretty impactful. When he's not saying stuff, he's kicking the shit out of people in very cool ways. The first time we see him interact with, well, actually, the very first scene of the movie, he's hiding in ash and shoots a cat with this huge bow and arrow, and then eats the cat. It's kind of a cool scene. But the first time we see him interact with other people is he at lightning speed, so freaking fast you can't even see the movement really. Guy reaches out to touch him, or guy reaches out, shoves him. He's like, you touch me with that hand one more time, you won't get it back. The guy laughs. Of course, he reaches out to push him again, and huge-ass knife comes flying out of somewhere, cuts the guy's freaking hand off. Denzel proceeds to, step back into the shadows. The guy who got his hands cut off, his, gang of, 5 or 6 guys all come at him, and within about 35 seconds, bam, they're all dead. He's just so freaking cool, and he does stuff like that throughout the whole movie, where it's one against way too many, and he kills everyone. He's a total badass, and I loved it. Mila Kunis was Mila Kunis, I guess. It wasn't really good or bad on her part. I felt pretty much anyone could have played her role. Really, there wasn't anything that to me screamed, hey, let's get Mila Kunis in this role, other than, hey, Mila Kunis is cheap. Yeah. There were some plot holes here and there. The only one that I really said out loud, I turned to the girl I was at the movie with at one point when Mila Kunis is driving one of the armored cars. This is about maybe 3/4 of the way through the movie, so it's kind of a spoiler that she's going to drive an armored car. But okay, Mila Kunis drives a car in this movie. But the weird thing was, it's okay, she doesn't even know how to read, and there's she's too young to know how to drive a car. She's 20-ish, but in this movie, the apocalypse happened 30 years ago, so she's too young to know this stuff. There's they don't even know what TVs are, so she, it was kind of weird that she all of a sudden, instinctively knew how to drive a car. But she did a couple of badass things herself. She was kind of a MacGyver character, a female MacGyver. But yeah, the special effects in this movie were great. Like definitely, especially the the landscape of this place definitely looked really sweet. Had some nice color correction to it. Had some really good set extensions going on. It was really cool post-apocalyptic background. The ending of this movie is so freaking sweet. There's this huge, huge, huge twist ending that totally blew my mind. Was so not expecting it. It came. I was like, holy freaking shit. And the big reveal of this big twist happens in such a way that it makes all the badass stuff that happened in the movie even more badass. So it just made this movie so much better. The dialogue was pretty good through most of it. And the cinematography was great. So I'm going to go ahead and give the Book of Eli a good 3.5 out of 5 stars. Or out of 5, whatever. 3.5 out of 5. It was really damn good. I thought it was totally badass. I loved it. It was awesome. It was sweet. Had its problems, which is why it's not getting, a 4 or better. It's getting a 3.5 though, which is still really damn good. Definitely check out Book of Eli. There's a couple parts where you'll be like, what the fuck? That wouldn't happen. But watching Denzel fight and seeing the ending is totally enough to make up for any bad things that this movie has. Book of Eli, check it out. 3.5 out of 5. Go!